All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former East Carolina cornerback, color analyst for the football Pirates. He is Kevin Monroe joining us. Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Clip. How about yourself?
Doing great. It's been a while, but we'll highlight the Military Bowl. You had another fun call on Rajay's run that we'll talk about. But something first going on social media. So I saw a few days ago East Carolina coaches were back on the road recruiting. And the first thing I saw was a picture of Farmville Central High School. So that's interesting. But then I saw Bertie, then I saw Conley, then I saw, all the area schools. And it's probably a bit of marketing and a little bit for show, but still neat to see him out at all the local schools. Well, anyway, that went to Holt Naylor's putting up a picture of him and C.J. Johnson and saying Conley's the only Pitt County school you need to go to, which led to other people putting up stuff. And then, ironically, I asked you about contacting Jamie Wilson. Somebody posted a picture of Conley great Jamie Wilson, to which somebody replied with that a picture of Kevin Monroe. To which I said never heard of him, but it made for a little fun talk, Kevin. But you've been around this a long time, and you are a local guy that went to the local college, East Carolina. So, I guess a couple questions: how important is it to be active in the area high schools, and how do you think East Carolina does with that as far as being around and trying to get guys from the area?
I think it's very important to recruit all North Carolina schools, but Eastern North Carolina specifically. There shouldn't be a, a really top quality player to leave the Pitt County area without East Carolina offering them. It's one thing if the kid decides he wants to go to Tennessee or wherever, but he shouldn't at least leave this area without being offered. In order to do that, you have to comb the area. Back in Steve Logan's day, from Morris Foreman to Marcus Crandall to Troy Smith, myself, Jamie Wilson, on and on and on. Eastern North Carolina, if there was a good player coming out of there, Leonard Henry out of Clinton, coach was getting them. And so that's the kind of thing you have to do to be successful in your state. And then you broaden out. You can tell Holt Naylors that South Central saved Conley. And before there was a South Central, there was just a Rose. Nobody went to Conley, but once South Central opened up, it took a lot of our students, and so things changed drastically. But I'll still stand by Rose High School.
Look, we're in the media. We're looking for fake beefs. This could be good, Kevin. We could get this rolling all off season. It'd be a great thing. As a Conley guy, I was always a little jealous, and like for some reason I bought into the Rose is stealing all our good players. I had buddies that played Winterville Little League with me. Now, why the hell are they at JH Rose? They should be
Right.
but it was all fun. But I'll say this: the Rose boys threw way better parties than us Conley guys. So I partied with all the Rose guys. My later years there at Conley, but no, I made for some fun discussion. And I was thinking about it, Kevin, when you said, any good player in the area, we can't let them, go without us offering. There are a few special cases, and I don't know if ECU offered Todd Gurley or Montario Hardesty, but some
Yeah.
guys are just going to go to the SEC if they come calling. You just hate to
Yeah.
see kind of somebody go to maybe State or Carolina without us at least trying to get in the mix, right?
Absolutely, and again, you should still offer a Ty Gurley out of Tarboro. Whether we did or not, I don't know,
Yeah.
but why not offer it? He did right by going to the SEC. He was a first round draft pick, top of the line type player. So you can't fault him for that. But still offer it. Why not? What's the skin off your back? He's right in your neighborhood. Just fire out an offer and see what happens.
Yeah. Now, if we could translate that to basketball and get them over there at Farmville Central and Kinston, that's another topic for another day. Kevin, Pirates in the season on a major high, the win over NC State. I've said this, I've kind of admitted, I've walked it back that, bowls don't matter. That ECU game mattered. And right when they kicked off and I saw State's jersey, the blood got pumping in me a little bit like, all right, let's beat these guys. I'm fired up now. But Kevin, you were there to witness it. Had a great call on Rajay's run where you couldn't believe what just happened, and a lot of us couldn't. But man, how much fun was it calling that one?
Man, it was a fun game to call. I had done some research as I tend to do when I'm about to call a game, and I found that in the first quarter, really the first half, but specifically the first quarter, State had been starting slow all season long, and
Yeah.
they were being outscored by over 100 points in the first quarter. throughout the whole season. And so, I said to myself, we have to get out early because the exact opposite happens in the fourth quarter. They've been outscoring opponents by 100 points in the fourth quarter. They were kind of storming back. You saw them storm back on Carolina, and they did that kind of throughout the year. And so when we got to that 10-0 lead, I was like, okay, this is going kind of according to script, but everybody hold on because they're going to come back. And that's exactly what happened. They took the lead late. But just I love the resiliency to see in Coach Harrell and the defense, the offense, everybody that needed to make a play made a play late in that game. And as you said, that Rajay run, I mean, listen, that could have he could have gotten tackled in the backfield on 3rd and 10, and then it would have been 4th and 12, and we throw an incomplete pass. That ball game's over, and everybody's sitting here saying, "Why the heck did John David Baker run the ball on 3rd, 10, 14-yard line?" But it worked out. It worked out. They weren't expecting it. Raji did his thing, and he goes 86 yards, and it was one of the most incredible plays I've seen in East Carolina history. Against that NC State team, to where we are battling against them for recruits. Probably everyone that NC State is offering, East Carolina is interested in, and everybody that East Carolina is offering, at least State's paid attention to. Maybe they didn't offer them, but they're still looking at them. And so we're battling for recruits. We're battling for bragging rights. If you're a kid that wants to choose ECU over NC State like I did, you want to have validation in that, hey, we beat you guys when we play you. And so this is a big time win for recruiting, a big time win for our program, and a big time win for Blake Harrell because listen, everyone talked about how weak the schedule was when he took over, and he needed one of these kind of wins. And not only did he get one of these kind of wins against an FBS opponent, against a Power 4 opponent, but he got a win against an in-state FBS school, which Mike Houston never did.
That was a huge bugaboo on Houston's resume there, and you're right, big one for Blake Harrell on that run, Kevin. I will say, and we talked to John David Baker on Monday, and I did acknowledge that there was at least one, he said 2 previous 3rd and longish in that game where they ran the ball for a first down, so they had already done it. But I admit that I can't remember if I said what or no right when they handed it off on 3rd and 10. So for you, now a veteran broadcaster, it's important to know what to say when you talk, but also not to talk, right? Because was your first reaction there like, whoa, what are we doing here?
I was very nervous when I saw that ball get handed off. It's one thing to do that, 3rd and 10 from your own 45, but 3rd and 10 from your own 14, and knowing that if it doesn't work on 4th down, they're pinning their ears and they're coming at your quarterback on 4th and long. That would have been a no-win situation or a get lucky situation. And it just so happens that it was just the right call. I mean, it couldn't have worked out more perfectly. Rajay saw the lane open up, he hit it, and they had nobody there to get him. It was just the perfect call.
Kevin Monroe joining us. Kevin had some fisticuffs at the end of that game, and I feel like it's all blown over now, which is good. Like at the time, I was a little bit worried what could come out of this, and I guess still could be some players out maybe for week 1. I still don't know fully about that, but you saw it live, and I guess good that it didn't get any worse, right? Because watching on TV is one thing, but when you're witnessing it live, it feels a little bit different. So what did you think when you saw that going on?
I don't know if you've talked to Andrew Bays, but he was obviously down on the sidelines at the end of the game. So he got to see it up close and personal. He was probably hiding out of the way. He's from Maryland. He didn't want any of that smoke. But I tell you what, it was funny that, did the Pirates started? I guess technically we started it by pulling the towel. But, that's not something to fight over. You get your towel back, you give them a shove. It's over with. That's not something for all of their players to come storming off the field over. It blew way out of proportion.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, we had not been in one of those types of fights all season long. They had, and it was their most recent game. So not to point fingers, but there's one common denominator there. I hate to see it happen, but just glad that the Pirates got the win.
Yeah, well said. Kevin Monroe joining us here on Pirate Radio Live. Kevin, we got a playoff game tonight. That's a lot of fun. We got Thursday, Friday college football, NFL playoffs, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So let's dive into all that before we let you go. Starting with Notre Dame, Penn State tonight. You got a favorite in this one.
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I love the Notre Dame story. I love their head coach. He's put a spirit into that team, and they seem to be ready to play every game. A quarterback is a big-time player, and they just seem to play hard when they need to. that Northern Illinois game could have wrecked their season. And at the moment it did. When it happened, it was like, fire the coach, get rid of the program. Like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to us. And they went on to, only lose that game and just to power through everybody else. My son Marcus was lucky enough to get a Penn State game invite, so he was up there this season to see that train they got going. At home there in Happy Valley, and he's trying to play tight end in college, and so they've got the best tight end in the country. So we got to see him play. You got to see him play up close and personal. So that was really cool. So love the Penn State story as well, and Coach Franklin, what he's doing. So I won't say I've got a favorite, but I really like what both teams have done this year, and I won't be upset no matter who wins.
Yeah, I'm going Notre Dame. I mean, they really impressed me. I know this isn't one of Kirby Smart's best teams, but to beat them, and it wasn't like smoke and mirrors and double reverses. It was like man football, and that's what Notre Dame's doing. So very impressive there. Speaking of impressive, Ohio State, I don't know if they traded a bunch of guys after the Michigan game. They look like an NFL team, man. They put it on Oregon. They are pretty big favorites against Texas coming up Friday night, and I would not want to get in the way of the Buckeyes right now.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'll pick Notre Dame if you want me to have a pick in that game. I think they can get it done. But yeah, Ohio State, man. Oregon being the number one team in the country at the time, it was 38-0 or something at one point. I was like, how is this even happening? And so, and the game was on the West Coast, I think, so it should have been a heavily Oregon-based fan base, even though Ohio State travels well. Man, that was surprising. So it's hard to count them out right now. I do love Texas and what they're doing. In my real job, I've got a lot of clients that are Texas, former Texas players, and they love Austin, and they all live in Austin in the off season. And so I've got a lot of allegiance to Austin. My sister-in-law went to UT undergrad, and so she's a huge fan. So, and Coach Sarkisian, man, he's really done a great job there. Just impressed by them, impressed by the fact that they're able to handle that Ewers, Arch Manning situation the way they've handled it. With two top-notch quarterbacks. So I'm not sleeping on Texas. I don't know if they can beat what Ohio State's doing right now. And Jeremiah Smith, he seems to be number one receiver out there. Definitely the best freshman out there right now. It's funny because my kids are both play wide receiver, and beginning of the season they were all about Ryan Williams at Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't stop talking about him, best player in the country. Well, and now they're all about Jeremiah at Ohio State. So just all about what's happening lately, right? So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Texas. I'm gonna go Texas in this game. I don't know if they can win or not, but I'll be rooting for them.
All right, Kevin Monroe joining us here today on Pirate Radio Live. Kevin, number one focus on the playoffs, my Commanders against the Bucks. I think we got a shot at them, but I think outside of that, taking my fandom away, I am fascinated to see the chase in the AFC and can anybody catch and surpass Mahomes. And really I'm talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who both had tremendous years. I think I take Lamar Jackson for granted because when I saw he had a 41-4 touchdown to interception ratio, those numbers don't even seem right.
No.
But man, I'm excited to see, can Baltimore finally win with Jackson in the playoffs? And Josh Allen has done just about everything to this point except winning the playoffs, win a Super Bowl. So I'm really fascinated by the AFC this year.
I am too. Certainly the Chiefs aren't as good as they've been, right? But I truly believe that when it's all said and done, Patrick Mahomes will be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Obviously, Tom Brady still has that nod for now. But Patrick Mahomes is just incredible. What he can do with football and what he can do with his offense when given an opportunity. You just cannot give him any time on the clock to get his team at least in field goal range to win a ball game. And they've done it time and time again this year. You can't pick against them until somebody knocks them off. Certainly, adding Derrick Henry to the mix with Baltimore is a completely different look than what Baltimore has had in the past in the playoffs. So that's going to be a thing, even if Lamar Jackson, because he tends to play not as good in the playoffs. So even if he has a down game, you still got Derrick Henry to concern yourself with. On the other side, Josh Allen, his knock has been in his career is turning the ball over and making mistakes at the wrong times, trying to do too much. He hadn't done that this year. He's protected the football. He's run it well. He's thrown it well. They added some pieces with Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper. Man, they look good. They look good. So I think they got to get through each other, I think, before they get to Kansas City at some point if Kansas City wins. But it's hard to pick against the Chiefs. And then in the NFC, man, the Lions look good. The Eagles look good. I think I go with your Commanders in the first round game. If my Cowboys could beat the Bucks 2 weeks ago in that game, I don't see why the Commanders couldn't. So I think you guys get past the first round and you see what happens from there.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about it. See what Jaden Daniels can do in his first playoff game. Got a really intriguing game on Monday as well between the Rams and Vikings. So it's going to be a fun weekend, Kevin. I am looking forward to it. You're probably pulling for the Packers and Bucks, but picking the Commanders, I appreciate that. Man, I like the Packers all year, but a little worried about them right now with
Yeah.
the Watson injury, and then Love, is he 100%? And really, honestly, too, Philly looks like a machine when they get rolling.
Yeah.
So you talk about Derrick Henry with the Ravens, what they've added. How about Saquon with Philly in the playoffs?
I mean, as an NFC East guy yourself, I mean, how mad are you at the Giants for just letting that guy stay in the division? You got to get rid of him. You can't let him stay in the division. That's like cardinal rule. And so to see that unfold, man, it's just ridiculous because we knew how good he was. The only thing holding him back was Daniel Jones being a terrible quarterback and the offensive line not being very good, and the fact that he kept getting injured. So as soon as he gets behind a good offensive line, have a good quarterback, you knew he was going to blow up, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Kevin, any of your boys on the basketball court, or are they sticking with focusing on football?
So Marcus was going to play at NRCA. He played actually summer league with them, played in some games, and the athletic director is the head basketball coach, and he really wanted him on the team. Obviously he's 6'4". You want a guy that kind of size of athleticism. So he was trying to get him to play, and Marcus decided that he's trying to make this transition from wide receiver to tight end. He needed to bulk up and focus on his football training. So he's gained about 12 pounds this offseason. He's up to about 212 now. And so he's trying to fit that tight end mold. So he did not play basketball. My youngest son, the 8th grader, is playing. He's playing middle school ball, starting and doing well.
Nice. Good to hear. Fun times, man. Enjoy that. Kevin, appreciate you joining us, man. We'll keep in touch, do it again, and talk to you soon, man.
All right, Clip. Take it easy.